this weekend, with all eyes on the fascinating on-track battle for the World Championship and the intriguing off-track negotiations that have been ramping up throughout the day. It's Jack Appleyard and Simon Crafar here to preview everything that's to come over this busy weekend. And there's only one place to start, Simon. We've had this conversation, I feel, countless times, but last time out in Barcelona, the world champion Pecco Bagnaia, proving why he's the world champion, came out swinging on Sunday once again. When he needed a result, he's able to find one.
And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he can repeat something like that here, because thinking through the different manufacturers, who's got the edge, you know. I mean, Ducati know this place very well. The GP24 is flying. The KTM matched it in speed, no problem at all, at the last one in Catalunya, and I would imagine they can do that here as well. I mean, they held the top speed record, if I remember correctly, here. The thing is, there's a lot of long corners. Those few laps reminded me, a lot of long corners. You're waiting for the bike to turn, and I think that the GP24 has the edge there over the KTM. It's one of the weaknesses the KTM riders have been talking about. Long corner. Pedro spoke about it, Jack spoke about it, Brad has spoken about it. So unless the KTM have improved in that area, it still looks like the GP24 is going to be the bike. And yeah, between Pecco and Martin, they're on fire.
A level above at the moment. On Sunday evening, after the Catalan Grand Prix that of course took place just last weekend, Marc Marquez, who we're going to hear from in the press conference in a moment, pinpointed Bagnaia has been the big favourite for this weekend. Victorious here in 2022 and in 2023. Marc in particular saying Pecco's ability to really maximise the long and fast corners that we have here is going to suit him. Would you have Pecco down as being the big favourite for the weekend?
It's pretty much what my gut feeling is exactly the same. I didn't hear that quote you were talking about, but yeah, that's what I feel is Pecco. Yeah, long, fast corners. GP24 being so quick on the straight, it's going to take a lot of beating. Look, the thing is, I think the Aprilia work well here. Those long corners, fast corners, they are very good at it. So I'm super interested to see how strong the Aprilia is and their riders. But also, I've got to say again, the KTM. The KTM has the speed on the straight. Does it have the corners? You know, can it work well in the fast turn and finish those long corners, get the exit? That's what I'm really looking forward to seeing here. Earlier in the year, they were weak there, but nothing stands still in MotoGP, so I can't write them off. I want to see how they go this weekend.
First crash of the weekend, out of shot there. Rider okay, though, so that's good.
Cameraman.
That's good news. For Bagnaia in particular, Simon, it's Austria last year, the last time he was able to stand on the top step on a Saturday. Again in Catalunya, another huge mistake on the final lap, throwing away 12 valuable championship points. Is it about time we see Bagnaia take a victory on a Saturday in the sprint? And is this going to be a big sprint coming up on Saturday to see him try and banish those demons that he's clearly got at the moment?
Yeah, strangely, I just can't write him off. You know, he almost did it. You know, he almost did it. It was like
8 corners away.
Yeah, a few corners away. And it was one of those tricky corners with tricky tyre combination that caught a few people out, you know. And Pecco was one of them, you know. Brad Binder moments before, or a few laps before, in the same position, leading. Look, a lot of people happened in practice and learned from it, learned not to do it. I think Marc was one of them. So I haven't written Pecco off at doing. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he finishes the job this Saturday. Just something on that. Mm-hmm. One of the things that Pecco's so good at is learning from the sprint and coming out, you know, and smashing it on Sunday. So, look, even if he gets a podium in the sprint, I'd still say he's on target to win the main one.
He did the double here last year, of course, but he does sit 39 points now, despite that massive victory on Sunday, Jorge Martin was still able to extend his World Championship lead by a solitary point. Now 39 coming here to Mugello. He said on Sunday evening, this is the best start to any Grand Prix season I've ever had. He's in unbelievable form. He's taken another noticeable step forward this year in his riding, in himself, in his maturity. Still on a bad weekend, and nothing really went too much to plan for Jorge last weekend. A crash in qualifying left him way down on the third row of the grid, never got going in the sprint, finishing fourth, and then eventually getting beaten in the latter stages by Pecco on Sunday. But to come away and still have extended out his World Championship lead, he must actually come here with a bit of a spring in his step still. If that's a bad weekend, then we're in with a great chance this year.
Yeah, for sure. Look, without analysing everything, just watching, going on gut feelings, watching what they're doing, the strength of Jorge Martin, I've said it before, is hit the ground running on Friday, be fastest straight away. He doesn't have to change the bike often to get, meaning he changes the bike less than most of his opposition, you know, trying to find. He just rides it and rides it so fast, and that, I think that's his advantage. Where he will often get to Saturday night and he's done everything he can, unless he's got something more on the medium, where Pecco is still building and will come out at another level on Sunday, you know. So the thing Jorge does well is often use the medium as well, you know, not just the soft and the sprint, but he'll get out there on race day GP and be happier on the medium. So that's another, you know, string to his bow. He's good. But I still think Pecco starts at a lower level and just doesn't stop building all the way to Sunday. So Sundays is the one with the big points, you know. So they've got a proper scrap on, and it's great for us.
Marc, you would say is slowly but surely, well, not even slowly or surely, he's creeping into contention.
Really is.
45 places he's made up over the last 4 races. Of course, qualified 13th in Le Mans and was able to come through to second on both occasions. And then in Jerez in Barcelona, qualified in 14th, but that didn't stop him coming through to second in the sprint on Saturday, and then third on Sunday. Now only 41 points back on Jorge, 2 behind Bagnaia. His big issue, though, given where he's qualified in the past 2 Grand Prix, is his Saturday mornings and his qualifying.
Yeah.
How important is it that he rectifies that soon to really cement himself as a championship challenger?
Well, he has to, really, because this is, I mean, Marc's been incredible at doing it, you know. Everyone's calling him the comeback king, and he has been. The last 4 starts, amazing, you know, what he's achieved. But it also comes with some risk, and it comes with it burning more tyre. You know, he's good at tyre management. He did that comeback to third with the soft.
Yeah.
It's amazing, like, really good job. His race pace is always there, so that's a strength of his. How he manages his race is a strength, but he has less experience with the bike, and he can't seem to do that exceptional lap time on the Friday and then on the Saturday, you know. And I kind of don't blame him. He doesn't know the Ducati as well. And when he does figure that out, then you know Marc is really here. But it could take some time, because what Pecco, for example, Martin, a few of the others are doing, DG was amazing in a one-off lap. What they are doing, the lap time is so good that it's a long way ahead of where Marc is, really. When you look at the time, Marc's at, like, quite a long way off that. And this is really interesting for me to spot when he can finally do it. We'll all see it, but they know, Frankie knows, Marc knows, they need it. Otherwise, his weekends are too hard.
The issue he's facing at the moment is, of course, in qualifying, when he put in that soft rear tyre with that extra grip. He's saying it's pushing the front and unable to really maximise the corner entry, which is where Marc has always been fantastic and gaining all of his time. Just explain the front. Why is it that the softer rear and the extra grip is causing issues on the front?
Well, yeah, it kind of depends on what track we go to, which tyre we have, but the left-hand side got mentioned to me a few times by riders at Barcelona was so grippy because it didn't have to be as strong as the right, so it's softer again, dual compound, and that was causing those turn 5 crashes, you know. It has so much rear grip that it's pushing the front forward, and these bikes decelerate so quick that they've got to get the engine slowed down. The engine's pushing forward, you know, because they go bum bum down through the gears, but they're braking so quickly the rear tyre is still pushing the bike forward. That's why they have the exhaust valve to slow that down quicker. But if they don't put all that together, you know, that's another adjustment thing, if you've got it right or not. You imagine going into a corner, stopping as best you can, and the rear tyre starts pushing you straight ahead, you know. Yeah. And it's working all that out. It's electronics, it's style. The GP23 has a different crank weight, I believe. That's what's the more difficult thing to manage than the GP24. I think they've improved it. All of that, it takes time to learn, and that's what Marc and Frankie are trying to figure out.
At the moment, for layman's terms, the bike's wanting to go that way and Marc's wanting to go that way, pretty much. And he's trying to work out to make it and find that balance. That's everything that's going on in terms of the 2024 picture. In terms of 2025 and that battle, that story that I'm sure you're all following along intensely at home of who will be who will be Pecco Bagnaia's teammate in 2025. Well, there's been some developments today. La Gazzetta dello Sport, one of the biggest Italian newspapers, has published that they believe, according to them, Jorge Martin has signed and has confirmed that he will be Pecco Bagnaia's teammate next year. Of course, that has implications for Marc Marquez. We put those potential implications to him earlier on today, and this is what the 8-time world champion had to say.
Reports about next year. Gazzetta dello Sport are reporting that Jorge Martin might have the factory seat for next season. Where does that leave you?
Well, at the moment, what I have, the news from Ducati is not like this, or they inform me in this way. But in any case, I'm doing my 100% in the racetrack. I just try to do my maximum, because like this I will have more opportunities or more chance for different seats. And yeah, let's see if we can continue in the same way as last races.
If it is Martin at the factory team, would you be prepared to accept a spot at Pramac if they gave you a GP25?
Yeah, Pramac is a very good team. As Martin showed, have a very good potential, but it's not an option for me.
So it would be a factory team. If it's not Ducati, it would be a factory team elsewhere.
Of course, what I'm looking for, I already say, 2-3 races ago, is like a last version bike. This is the main priority, and if it's in a factory team, much better. But if you want to fight for the World Championship, that is my intention. If we continue in that way, you need to be ready in all the aspects, or try to find facilities. And yeah, if you are in a factory team, you have more facilities. If you have the last version bike, you have even more facilities. So yeah, last version bike is the main priority.
So there we go then. Marc Marquez to Pramac Ducati in 2025, officially off the table. A lot of paddock talk coming into the weekend. Had Jorge Martin moving up to the factory squad and Marc getting his wish of a full factory machine in Pramac. That now looks as though, well, is going to be the case that Marc won't be moving there next year. So what does that mean for everything, Simon? I mean, your reaction to what Marc had to say, another twist in this ever-developing story.
Well, the main thing I took from it was that Marc is saying, that's not what I've heard, you know. I think that was the most important thing, that he hasn't heard that the decision is made and Jorge has it. I think that's the most important thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, on the other side of the coin, we're going to hear from both of them earlier on. We also spoke to Jorge Martin, who did say that talks have commenced and they've made positive progress with Ducati. He was certainly a man that seemed a lot more happy with life, and certainly wasn't going anywhere near towards sort of ruling out the fact that the decision has been made. But all of this has huge implications as well, because as we understand, Pramac have an offer on the table to potentially become Yamaha's satellite team next year. We've got Fermin Aldeguer to try slot in somewhere as well. If Marc was to stay in Ducati, does that mean Grassini would get a full factory bike, VR46 would get one, or, as he said, does it open the door to potentially a move to either Aprilia or KTM next year? Having made the switch to a new manufacturer at the start of this year, could you see Marc then going through this same process all over again next year? Or do you think his preference would be to try and stay on a Ducati that he's trying to learn even now still?
I would have thought, I mean, there's a lot to it that I don't know, but I would have thought he would like to stay alongside his brother at Gresini with the same sponsors and a factory bike. I imagine that would be the key. If you can't have the factory, as in alongside Pecco, that would be the answer, in my opinion. Yamaha have said all along that here is the deadline for knowing if they are going to run a satellite team or not. And even to keep quiet until now means the discussions are ongoing, you know. So I've bumped into Lynn, I've teed up a chat, and we are going to hear from him. And I will hassle him about that this weekend. So
there we go, something to look out for. And we understand as well, of course, that big money package that Yamaha were able to put together to convince Fabio Quartararo to stay for 25 and 26. As part of that, there was hope that they would also be able to have 2 more bikes on the grid, because we know just how important that is to being able to develop and advance the project.
For sure, to have another 2 riders giving info to the manufacturer, more places to try things, because they do have the opportunity to try things with the concessions, and Pramac is a serious team. Yeah. If they are talking to them, I mean, that would be a real coup, you know, in their progress, you know, and they are going to make the progress. We can see it already.
And of course, that opens up the door to who potentially might replace Aleix Espargaro at Aprilia in 2025. Could it be Jorge Martin? Could it be Marc Marquez? Or, as Massimo Rivola revealed to me in pit lane last year, I think there is a preference of seeing an Italian rider on an Italian bike. A lot of links with Enea Bastianini, but Marco Bezzecchi potentially in the picture there as well.
Who I'd like for the job. I'd like to see Marco on it, so if they want an Italian. So let's see what happens.
There is a lot for all of us to enjoy over the next couple of weeks. We understand Gigi Dall'Igna saying ahead of the weekend that an official announcement will be made in the weeks leading up to the Dutch TT, which is in around 3-4 weeks' time. So although it's a spring break for all of us, I'm sure that everybody at home will be eagerly watching all of social media for that announcement to be made. Just waiting for Marc Marquez to arrive. So whilst we do, an opportunity to speak about Aprilia and KTM's chances this weekend. The pair of them in slightly different moments at the moment. Of course, Aprilia had the sprint success with Aleix Espargaro last time out. Unable, Aleix, really to get going in the Grand Prix on Sunday. But KTM, another weekend where they were left wanting more. Pedro Acosta, again, the star man, and said that he threw a podium in the bin with that crash whilst following Jorge Martin in towards turn 10. But Acosta showing that he's the main man at KTM once again. And this is another place where the boys in orange are needing a big, big weekend.
At earlier races in the season, I thought just they weren't there. They weren't looking strong enough, apart from Pedro. Where I think in Catalunya we saw that they were there. I mean, Brad, apart from the same mistake as Pecco made, he looked like winning the sprint, you know. And I'm not saying that because I wanted him to. It looked like he was going to, you know. He looked fantastic. Made that same mistake. Something happened in the main race that his tyres didn't work, you know. He somehow fried them, something didn't, and he was just along for the ride. It wasn't the Brad we're used to, you know. So something was wrong there. I think, though, that both Brad and Pedro looked good in Catalunya. And I hope that it rolls into this one as well, that both of them are there. And the KTM's fast. It's really important here to be fast. And then on the other side, you're talking about Aprilia. They have strengths in totally different areas than the KTM is a powerhouse. It's probably looks like the torquiest bike. It's the fastest bike off the line, which is obviously about clutch and rider managing that and systems managing it, but also the pure torque of the engine is huge. And you saw it in Catalunya. They can pass. So even the Ducati, so they're strong, but the Aprilia is beautiful, flowing on the fast corners, manage those tyres, that's just as important. So they could do it a different way.
Potentially this a big opportunity for Pedro Acosta, you feel, as well. In Le Mans, he said he had the bike to win. In Barcelona, he said he threw a podium in the bin, and this circuit, this venue, the only place that he's taken victory in both 2022 and 2023 in his two Moto2 seasons. You feel there are two big opportunities coming up for him to break that record here this weekend in Mugello and at Assen next time out, because you get the sense that the Saxon Ring is going to be Marc Marquez country once again. Do you think that this is a big opportunity very quickly, Simon?
Yeah, I do. Any of the races that we go to that the KTM works well, I think it will here again, and we don't all go testing it to make it more difficult for Pedro to shine. So the races, the one-off races we go to from here on in, I think Pedro's on the cards to win one. I really do.
We still wait for Marc Marquez to arrive, but I think we can head over to the press conference, because we've got potentially, who knows, if today's reports are true, the 2025 Ducati Lenovo team line up there waiting for us. Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin will soon be joined by Marc Marquez. Of course, the press conference will be hosted by our very own Matt Burt.